Joining me now is a UFC welterweight fighter who defeated Tim the Dirty Bird Means via decision at UFC Fight Night 121 in Sydney, Australia earlier this month. It is Belal, remember the name Muhammad, back on the show. As I said off air, Belal, it's been a little bit. Certainly did not forget the name, going by your nickname there. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you very much for the time and congratulations on probably the biggest win of your career over Tim Means. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so. He's a tough opponent, been in the game for a while, well known, so I think he's a big name to beat.
Now, firstly, this was your first fight out of the United States of America. It was, of course, as I said, off the top in Sydney, Australia. What was it like fighting outside of the U.S., and how was Australia?
Man, that was a big thing. That was crazy. Just the whole time difference, and the long flight was actually the biggest thing. My flight ended up being like 30 hours of travel time going, and doing that while cutting weight is not fun. So, but I feel like it's going to be a good experience, learning experience of what to do and what not to do during those long flights. But Sydney was well worth it, man. I definitely loved going there. Saw a lot of stuff over there, so the flight was worth it just for being able to see everything I saw there.
Was fight week a bit, maybe stressful is not the right word, but was it a bit more challenging, maybe stressful too, just because you're in a different place? I would assume you'd never been to Australia, at least you hadn't fought there. Maybe finding, weight cut supplies and different things that you need on fight week might have been a bit, tougher. Do you agree?
No, it was actually pretty, worked out perfectly with the way the UFC set it all up. I'm not a big weight cutter anyway, so like, usually day before I'm cutting probably like 5 or 6 pounds. I know people that cut like 15 to 20 pounds the day before, but like the UFC, they set up the hotel, which was like attached to a really nice gym that had everything we needed, like treadmills, sauna, jacuzzi, pool. So the gym was really nice, so it like worked out perfectly for that. And then there's a lot of really good restaurants nearby, healthy choices. So cause I got there that Monday, the week before the fight. Just to try to get acclimated to the time. So like it worked out perfectly with the whole restaurant and everything, the area they picked out.
And you told me, or I heard, I think you said you were staying a week later, so you just got back from Australia a couple of days ago. How was that? What did you get up to for the extra 7 days or so?
Yeah, man, it was really fun, man. Staying down there for 2 weeks. The whole first week was just all about fights. So the second week was just sightseeing and stuff like that. We were able to see like the Blue Mountains that were down there, actually climb the Sydney Bridge, win us off some kangaroos. Just really fun, man. It was one of those where it was on my bucket list to go to Australia, so the fact that I was able to go down there, get the win, and check it out, so I was able to get a fight and a vacation out of it, so it worked out perfect.
Right. When you go to Australia for the first time, even though the main purpose is a business trip, you got to make it into a bit of a vacation.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then the win made it that much better, so it wouldn't have been a fun second week without that win.
Were you happy with the win? It seems to be the biggest win of your career. It did go to the judges. You're always looking for a stoppage, but ultimately, Tim Means is a tough guy. He's super tough, and he's really crafty on the feet. He's a dangerous guy usually on the feet, but you picked him apart quite well. Were you happy with the victory?
I was happy with the victory. I showed a lot during that fight. I showed that I'm able to stand up with the best of them. He's one of the most dangerous strikers in the division, and he has a lot of a big reputation for elbowing, slicing people up. So I wanted to beat him at his own game. So I was happy with standing up, striking with him. So it showed a whole nother level to what I'm capable of doing.
Do you think that was almost surprising? I mean, maybe not to you, because you have to, fighters have to believe themselves, like, whole 9 yards. But did you realistically think you would do that well on the feet? Because, as I said, he's usually a nasty guy on the feet. I think a lot of people, predicting this fight would have thought maybe you would have gone back to your wrestling game a little bit more.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm training in Milwaukee with Rufus Sport, so I'm literally sparring and training with some of the best strikers in the world, and have some of the best coaches in the world training on there. So it's one of those where I'm seeing crafty guys all day, every day throughout the week. And I know what I'm capable of doing. So I know that I could stand with anybody. And I wanted to show that when I say that I'm not afraid to strike with a striker, I'm not afraid to grapple with a grappler, I mean it, because I'm willing to go out there and prove it.
And Tim Means wasn't the first your initial opponent. Initially, you were supposed to fight the Tough 25 winner, Jesse Taylor. That was supposed to be a good fight on the main card of UFC Sydney. He was forced off the card. He was pulled from the card because he failed a drug test, a USADA drug test. And Tim Means stepped up, but was it difficult dealing with that, midway through camp, having to switch up your game plan just because Jesse Taylor and Tim Means are not alike, style-wise whatsoever? If another wrestler stepped up and another, grindy guy like Jesse Taylor stepped up, sure, might have not have been a big deal, but, was it tough switching and changing up that game plan? Probably a bit drastically, I would think.
No, it wasn't that big of a change. It didn't affect me that much. The only thing that I actually liked it better just because I didn't have to have all my teammates shooting at me all day. Literally, I had everybody going in there shooting at me, trying to take me down the whole time. It wasn't like fun. It was just more of like a boring practice because I literally grappling the whole time. But like when I know I got switched off to Tim Means, I knew I was going to be going against a striker. So it was one of those where, like I said, I'm training every day with great strikers. So it wasn't that big of a change because I knew that I'm going against really good strikers every day. So I knew that fighting a striker wouldn't be that difficult because I fight strikers all the time, spar with strikers all the time that are on his level. So I was just happier that I knew that it was going to be a funner fight for the fans. I knew Jesse Taylor was going to go in there and just try to hump my leg. So I knew it was going to be a boring fight. And like I said, I want to be one of those guys where when fans see my name on a card, they want to watch it. They want to tune in. So I was just happy that I was able to get a more exciting opponent.
Now, after the fight, you called out number 3 ranked welterweight Colby Covington, who, it seems like everybody's after him, not just because of his ranking and his place in the division, but of course what he said about Brazil and the Fabricio Verdum thing and everything. Realistically, he's number 3, you're unranked. I'm sure if UFC did top 20 or so, you'd probably be right there. I would think you're really close to top 15. Do you think that's a fight that, could happen?
I mean, he's sitting there trying to beg for a title fight, waiting for a title fight. I mean, Tyron Woodley's hurt, so he got nothing else to come at. So I feel like he would be afraid to fight a ranked guy, or would be afraid to mess up his status. So why not fight an unranked guy if you think you're that much better than him? So why not just fight a more unranked guy if you think you're going to win, and then go on to fighting Tyron Woodley on a longer streak? Because if he's going to sit there and put his streak on the line against a ranked guy, that's more challenging for him. So why not fight an unranked guy, get yourself another one, and get paid like you think is going to happen, and then you could have a bigger for Tyron Woodley. But because I don't think Tyron Woodley's hurt, Tyron Woodley's going to be out for a while, so there's really nobody else for Covington to fight because everybody else is booked. Right. So I feel like why not fight the guy that's calling you out? This rankings don't mean anything in this game. Anybody can win it at any point. Styles make matchups, not rankings.
Yep, I would agree. And, it's interesting just because Covington is number 3 in the world, but a lot of people, I'm sure you think, you don't think too highly of him, as far as his personality goes, but do you have to give him a bit of credit just for what he's done? Beating Damian Maia isn't, an easy task. Not too many people do it, even in 2017. Or do you think he's one of the more overrated, top 10 welterweights?
I think he's very overrated. I think he did a good. He was good at picking his fights, picking the right fights for himself. I mean, he's a college wrestler, so he knew that his last 2 fights were his biggest wins. He knew that their only game plan is to try to take you down, and of course he's going to have good wrestling because he's a college wrestler. So all he has to worry about is defending his takedown. His stand-up looked like trash. He looked like an amateur out there with his stand-up wise. So if he goes against a guy like myself, who's good everywhere with striking and grappling, he's going to try to take me down. I'm going to defend a takedown, and then it's going to be a fight at the feet, and I will literally piece him up on the feet. It'll be just like a game for me in there.
And last time I spoke with you, which as I said was about a year and a half ago, you told me you were actually you were either working at or you owned a cell phone store. Now a lot has happened since then. I would imagine that's no more.
Yeah, I mean we still have the cell phone store, but I'm not working in there as much anymore.
When did you essentially become a full-time fighter?
Right before the Randy Brown fight, I decided to move down to Milwaukee, and I started going there full-time. So right before that fight, that's when it all started changing, and I decided to commit myself to 100%.
What level has that impacted your career? I mean, it may be a silly question because, of course, I'm sure it's done wonders. But like, can you sort of talk about that and talk about how good and how different it's been and how much you've improved as a guy who's training every single day and you know you don't have anything else to worry about really as far as a job goes.
Man, it was just great, man. Just being able to go to Milwaukee and train full time with a bunch of killers out there. And have that type of coaching out there, man. They have some of the best coaches in the world. You have Duke Rufus, Scott Cushman, Daniel Wanderlei, and just being able to work with those type of guys every single day. And I still come back here on the weekend to work with my other coach, Lewis Taylor. So just being able to have all those great minds together, I feel like it helped my game just tremendously. And just working with like the fighters down there, everybody over there is on the same mission as you, and everybody over there is working for the same goal. And nobody over there has egos. Everybody in there is just trying to make each other better. So just that whole team atmosphere and family atmosphere, I feel like it changed my game tremendously, and I feel like I'm getting better every single fight. And literally, it's been probably like a year since I moved down there, so I feel like just seeing my improvements so far, I feel like I'm just going to keep getting better and it's going to keep growing to be one of the best fighters in the world.
Well, this time last year, you were 1-2 in the UFC. Now, 365 days later, you're 4-2. So you're on a 3-fight winning streak. You've looked better than ever. Is that all just because you've been training full time? There seems to be, just looking on paper at your record, there seems to be a big jump. Like you're going from loss, win, loss, and now win, win, win.
Yeah, man, that was I give it a lot of credit to that. Just moving on there and just having that mentality where you moved, so the only thing you're doing there now is training and working for that goal, and just getting more comfortable in the cage. The UFC is a lot more different than fighting on the regional circuit. Just having that whole bigger stadium, bigger fans, bigger cage, it all plays a role in it. So now I just feel like I'm getting in there comfortable, where it's not, oh, I'm in the UFC. It's, oh, okay, I'm working to be the best in the world. It's not, oh, I'm in the UFC, I'm happy there. I'm going to be happy when I get that title.
Now, your first UFC victory, which came just over a year ago, it was September 2016. You got the TKO win over Augusto Montano. Your last 3, though, have all been by decision. You've looked good, but they have all gone to the judges. Is that simply because it's just a step up in competition, and that's natural? I mean, the better the fighter you fight, the tougher it'll be, and more likely it'll go, the distance. And is that something you're worried about, not finishing fights lately?
No, I mean, it's one of those where my last 2 fights before this one against Randy Brown and Jordan Main, I had it back in both those fights, so I had great positioning where I was close to finishing the fight in those. So I feel like it's just like you said, it's better opponents. So it's one of those where I'm going to keep working, and once I keep getting better and more comfortable in there, I think eventually they're going to come. I'm not going to force them. I'm just going to be naturally just go in there and just work my tail off, and then the finishes will end up becoming sooner or later.
Yeah, perhaps it's just a coincidence too. Now that I say this, you're going to go on a 7-fight TKO streak, and I'm going to look like an idiot. Your 2 canceled UFC bouts, Jesse Taylor, Lyman Good, one this year, of course, for the Sydney card, one at UFC 205 in New York last year. Interestingly enough, both were due to USADA suspension. So both you've had 2 canceled fights. Both of them were your opponent testing positive. So, with that in mind, USADA has essentially directly impacted a couple of your fights. And if it wasn't for them, perhaps you would have fought, a couple fighters on illegal substances. For that reason, has your view and opinion on USADA changed at all?
No, it's one of those where I always respect USADA. I know a lot of guys out here are on steroids. There's a lot of guys out here that don't get caught, but they're still taking steroids. Everybody's looking for a leg up in this game, and everybody's looking for a way to cheat or get better. So I'm not worried about it. I feel like I'm at that level now where my technique, my skill, and my training is going to trump anybody who's on steroids or not. So I'm not worried about guys that are on steroids, because I feel like no matter what, I'm still going to push a harder pace than anybody out there.
I don't know if it's just the fact that I hadn't talked to you for a while, or if you notice this as well. I know a lot of people are saying, like, it seems like you've changed over the, from your first fight to now. You seem a bit more confident. You're willing to talk a little bit more. You're a great follow on Twitter. I know I share that with a lot of people. Have you noticed this as well? Are you, just becoming a bit more, is it down to the fact that you're a bit more comfortable? You've been in the octagon for like, a year and a half, so maybe you feel like you have the right to talk a little bit more and have your call outs. And because I feel like after, your first UFC victory, I should have gone back and watched that post-fight interview, but I feel like you speak out a bit more now. Do you sort of see what I'm saying at all?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I get that a lot too. But it's one of those where, yeah, like you said, I feel like I'm more comfortable now. Before, it's one of those where you're like, you worked your whole career to try to get to the UFC, and it's like that was your goal, is to get inside the UFC. And you're like, all right, do I belong here or do I not belong here? Now, to the point where I'm on a 3-fight winning streak, and I've been there for that long. I'm at that point where now I know I belong here, and I know I belong with the top 5, top 10 guys in the world. And my end goal is going to be the title shot now. Now I believe it. Now I'm working toward it.
And I feel like in the back of your mind, while you're, calling certain fighters out or saying certain things on Twitter that might come off as funny or whatever, do you sort of have in the back of your mind, you got to stand out of the cage too. You can't just go in and have good performances and expect to get good, big fights. Realistically, it should be like that, but we know it's not. Look at guys who talk trash. They end up getting good opportunities. Is that at all in the back of your mind, or are you just 100% being yourself?
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm just being myself. Like, you see a lot of guys talking trash. I know you got to be exciting, more interactive with the fans, so that's what I'm just trying to be. Just try to be myself more with the fans, more open with the fans. I'm not going to try to pull a Colby Covington and try to be Conor McGregor where he's talking trash and not being myself, because you can tell it's fake from a couple guys, where a couple guys are sitting there trying to talk trash. It's not even good trash talk. It's like 5th grade trash, like Colby Covington, like his stuff. Like, you can tell he's trying too hard, and it doesn't come out genuine to the fans, I feel. And that's what I feel like with Conor McGregor, where his stuff was just real. He was just being himself. So that's why it came off so good, because the fans knew that he was being real. With Colby Covington, you could tell he's being fake. He's trying to be like getting his lines from WWF wrestling or something stupid like that, where it's not even funny and it's just making him look bad and stupid. That's why I feel like he hasn't earned a title fight or got a title fight or even got the attention of the champion, just because the champion's like, you're not even saying good stuff. You're just being disrespectful and ignorant.
I feel like you have to stand out.
Try to sit there and try to curse out guys or swear at my opponents just to try to get the ratings up. I feel like my fighting style is going to get the ratings up no matter what.
I feel like you have to stand out, but you can't take it too far, because then, as you said, sort of like Covington's situation, you come off, almost as a rude person, or that it's, fake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and try to be something I'm not. You can't be something you are. You just have to show the fans who you really are. And just being overly ignorant and stupid is not going to get you somewhere. I mean, I know he's just trying to use other guys' blueprints like Chael Sonnen or Conor McGregor, but like I said, when they did it, it looked more naturally. Him, he's just like, he's forcing it.
Yeah, for sure. What is next for you? You didn't take too much damage against Tim Means a couple weeks back. When would you like to get back in the cage? Sooner than later, or do you want to take a bit of time off? Enjoy, spend time with your family for the holidays, because Christmas is coming up and pretty soon.
Man, I'm actually right back in the gym right now. I just started training again. I'm hoping to get back as soon as possible. I just want to keep the momentum going. I felt good. I didn't take no damage during this fight. So I just want to get back in the gym and start grinding again, and hopefully I get a call from the UFC soon.
Awesome, Belal. Thank you very much for the time, as always. Before I let you go, remind my audience where they can find you on social media, and if there's anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
Thanks for having me again, bro. You can find me on social media at BullyB170 on Twitter, BullyB170 on Instagram. And just want to give a shout out to all the people that follow me and support me, and to my sponsors, English Soul, Go Polar Cryotherapy, Combat Corner, and anybody else out there that supports me. I appreciate it.